What is up, online? Excuse me. Ooh. What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again. You already know what time it is. It is Black Monday. Yes, that is the day where everybody gets fired and teams start moving on. Teams start trying to prepare for the next season. The off season is coming up for many teams. Unfortunately, the Detroit Lions are one of those teams. But before we dive too deeply into that, I just want to let you know that when you see me in front of your TV, one thing is for certain, and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? And it's fine, I'll tell you. I'm not going to hide the information from you. That's not the type of person I am. You must smash the like button, subscribe, and share with your peoples because once you've done that, you've kept your Lions news pragmatic. Doesn't matter the order. And since sharing is caring, once you've shared this with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your brothers, your fathers, sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your nuts, you name it. You name it. You have indeed cared about these people. What is up, though, everybody in the chat? Everybody who's lurking and ain't working. Everybody who's lurking and maybe twerking. And if you're lurking and doing something else, I don't want to know about it. What up, though? Shift. What up, though? Jody Carruthers. Shift says, bro, Ravens fans, something else. They're going off on Tyler Loop. Yeah. 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 I listen. If that was my kicker, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. That was a gimme. And gimme got. So yeah, I don't blame him. What up, though, Jody Carruthers? What up, though, Zach J? Okay. So we got a lot of things that we got to talk about today. And we're gonna get to rolling. Let me know what y'all think about the new thumbnail. Not the LNU thumbnail, but my thumbnail, Motor City Cats. Taylor Decker is there. He's on the thumbnail. And the title of the show is basically asking if the Detroit Lions learn from the Frank Ragnow situation because Dan Campbell stood at the podium and told you so. He said that the Detroit Lions learned from the Frank Ragnow situation. Taylor Decker all but retired yesterday. He all but told you that he wasn't coming back. He told you he was no longer willing to do what it took to get on the field and to stay on the field. And then he detailed all the things that he had to do, all the injections, all the scans, all the rehab and the prehab, everything that went into allowing him to get on the field Sundays. He said it was selfish of him. He said he wasn't going to be an absent father. He wasn't going to be an absent husband. He wasn't going to do these things. He wasn't willing to do those things anymore. Now, maybe some of this was just raw emotion. The season had just ended. We won a meaningless game. We dropped draft position, and we'll talk about that later. Some of it was raw emotion. I'm going to be generous and say 5% of it was raw emotion. I think 95% of it had to do with how he really, really felt. He said his quality of life after football is more important to him. Being a dad, he said he can't even throw a football with the shoulder that he has. Because remember, at the beginning of the season, he was out. The beginning of the offseason, he was out because he had to have shoulder surgery. Oh, it was fine. Yeah, just a few things that he had to clean up in there, and it felt good. He's glad he did it. Now he's telling you with that same shoulder, he can't throw a football. I think Taylor Decker is gone. I don't think he comes back. I don't know what's happening with Frank Ragnow. I don't know if he's coming back. But there's a lot at stake here. So Taylor Decker is gone, let's say. Graham Glasgow, while under contract, may have his eyes set on not coming back either. Now, nobody wants Graham Glasgow to come back and be the starting center. We've already talked about that. We saw that experiment end horribly this season. But what we do want, if we have Graham Glasgow doing anything, it's just because he will be a veteran backup. The Tristan Colognes, the Michael Nieces, the Abu Khan's, Ego Khan, whatever his name is, Kingsley Ego Khan, who's no longer even on the team. I think he got claimed by somebody. We need to freaking forget about all that stuff. The fundamental issue this offseason is going to be this. Brad Holmes, you want to cry broke? You're not going to field the team. And I don't mean that you're not going to have any players. I mean, you're not going to field a team that's competitive. What do we just say? Graham Glasgow may be gone. Taylor Decker definitely looks like he's gone. So now you've got to get a starting center, and you've got to get maybe a starting left or right tackle. With Penei Sewell probably moving over to the left if Taylor Decker retires, which it seems that he will. So now you got to get another right tackle. Cry poor, cry broke. Or go do what Ryan Poles did with the Bears. Oh, wait, you can't do certain things because you don't have third-round picks. This is going to be a testament to Brad Holmes' ability as a general manager. This offseason is going to be the most trying offseason that he has had. Not the first one. When he came in here and there was no talent because there was no expectations. This team is expected to be a Super Bowl winning team. Super Bowl or bust. Everybody's been saying it around the building. The players have been saying it. The coaching staff has been saying it. Ownership has been saying it. So, Brad Holmes, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm just a guy with a microphone sitting in the house. Brad Holmes, you can't fall asleep at the wheel here. Taylor Decker, gone. Assume Graham Glasgow is gone. Even if he's not gone, you need a center. You must replace him. I mean, you're not even trying to replace Graham Glasgow. You're trying to replace Frank Ragnow. You didn't have a contingency plan. That didn't work out well. Frank Ragnow may be coming back. Who knows? And that would honestly, that would be awesome. Okay, but that's just going to be a Band-Aid. Because all the stuff that Taylor Decker was saying that he had to do, Frank Ragnow had to do more. Because Frank Ragnow has an inoperable foot. He's missing toes. Taylor Decker doesn't have an inoperable anything, and he's going to acupuncturist. He's getting this injected, that injected. He's getting this scraped, that tucked, that scanned, that massaged, that poked, that prodded. Pause. What do you think Frank Ragnow has to do? So hopefully Frank Ragnow can come back and give us 1 year, one more year. With the imminent retirement of Taylor Decker, $21 million goes back to our cap. And we already talked about all the restructuring that's going to need to be done anyway. You're gonna have well over $100 million in cap. It may be 120 million in cap space. You must go out and spend money. All this ain't getting fixed in the draft. All this ain't getting fixed in the draft. All right. What you mean looks hurt? What does that mean? Yeah, I just answered that one. Hubbard. Oh my god. I just learned his name today. It's Chris Hubbard. I didn't bother looking him up. But apparently he's like 34 or whatever. So he's old. I- You know. Um, I don't know what you mean by the thumbnail looks hurt. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Uh all right. So that's the Taylor Decker thing. That's the state of the offensive line. There's nothing. There's nothing in the cupboard. There's nothing coming up. There's no developmental piece that I'm excited about. Giovanni Manu, we saw a game out of him. He got beat so bad that he went on IR for basically the rest of the year. Like he played against the Bengals and he got his ass beat so badly that he went on IR for the rest of the season. And then he was on the injury report for the game against the Chicago Bears. Let's talk about that game before we move on to other things. The Detroit Lions beat the Chicago Bears 19-16 yesterday. And yeah, this technically is a victory Monday, but it's also Black Monday. And we're going to get to um, some of the Black Monday stuff because some interesting names are now available. And then an even more interesting name is not available. And we'll get into that. But the Detroit Lions swept Osama bin Johnson. He was very butthurt. Dan Campbell and Osama bin Johnson didn't stand in the middle of the field. That's how quick their post game interaction was. You can say, oh, these two men stood in the middle of the field and had a conversation. They didn't stand. It was go. That was it. Slap hands, go. Good job. Right? We out. That was it. The interaction was it was lightning fast. They didn't even stop their feet. They just kept moving. So when you say, "Oh, we're friends," I don't buy it. I think it's a lie. I'm sorry. I just beat you. You just beat me. Whatever the case may be, we've seen coaches be friendly. And at least have the respect for each other to stop and shake hands and maybe say how's the family or whatever, and then keep it moving. Right? It's not gonna be a whole 5 minutes while they stand there. It's not like a guy that leaves a team and then comes back and plays against them and he's got former teammates and he's standing there talking to everybody. No, it's not gonna be that. But some of the stuff that I saw yesterday, we were able to get the run game going. We were able to control the time of possession. The defense actually looked competent. Um, and I just wondered where all of this stuff was the last 5 weeks of the season when you were still alive. Where was this against the Rams? Where was this against the now? I want to say second half of the Rams. Where was this against the Steelers when you were giving up 200 yards on the ground, 200 plus, damn near 250? Where was this? Down the stretch, they did nothing. And everyone had that crazy, oh, the stat. Oh, they haven't lost back-to-back games in 3 years. Okay. How many did we lose? 4 in a row? 3 in a row? I think it was 3 in a row. And then we won the last one. A meaningless game that took us from pick 13 to pick 17. The Ravens are picking before us. The Ravens that were 5 inches from the playoffs are picking before us. I think they're like 14 or 15. So not only are we dealing with an uphill battle, an uphill climb to get our offensive line fixed. Now we have less draft capital to do it with. I won't say less draft capital. I will say worse draft capital. Because we had the same amount of picks. It's not like if we had lost that game where we're going to get 2 more picks. We've got the same amount of picks. But it's just worse draft position. So whatever happens in the draft, guys, we're sitting at number 17. Right? You might be able to get a top 3 tackle. Not a top 3 player, like a top 3 tackle. Looking at the positional needs of teams, maybe they go grab somebody else. Maybe somebody falls to you. And this is the draft. Someone always falls. Right? We thought Laramie Tunsil was getting picked super high, and he sure did go super high when somebody during the draft released a video of him doing the gas mask bong, and he dropped. And it was one of the dumbest drops of all time. Laramie Tunsil's been solid, very solid, all pro level. So maybe something like that happens and we're able to move up and all these other things. But guys, this draft is I don't think it's going to yield you too many starters. Maybe 1, maybe 2. We have a first round pick, a second round pick, and then we have to sit out the 3rd round. Unless Bradley, Corvell, Matthias, Jerome, Melvin, Jacquiz, Taylor, Bartholomew Holmes does something in the draft to reacquire 3rd round picks. I mean, if you can trade some 4ths and 5ths for 3rd round picks, I don't know who would do that, but that would be great, right? Our draft is depleted. Our draft position is meh. What do we do? You gotta spend money. And for those of you crying broke and poor and thinking that, oh, the salary cap is real, I've got videos up that you can refer to. But we got to do something because this is the reality right now is that our team got worse today. We didn't even do anything yet. Our team got worse today. All the contracts that we had that were going to expire have expired. We have people that are not going to be here next year. When Jared Goff broke it down one last time. What he said was very telling, and I don't know if you saw this, and if you saw it, I don't know if you caught it. Jared Goff didn't tell the people in the huddle, in the locker room, let's get back in here in April and do it all over again. He didn't tell them that. He said, for those of you who are going to be here in April. He wasn't even talking to the whole team. He wasn't addressing everybody. He said, for those of you who are going to be here in April. Jared Goff knows that this team is going to be vastly different next season. Dan Campbell knows that this team is going to be vastly different next season. Brad Holmes has to know it. He has to know it. And I know he knows it, but what is he going to do about it? What up, though, Tactical Sport? Okay, I see you. I see you. But they were playing for pride. Pride, man, how about you have some pride and get in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl? Facts. We don't have a third round pick this year. I thought we had two. Nope. Nope. We're down to. We don't have to. I think he traded the comp pick for Aaron Glenn. I think he traded that. One second. All right. And all this time that I've been talking, I've said not too much about the defense. I've only been talking about the offensive line. We talked about the departures that we're going to have on the defensive line. Jack Campbell voices appreciation for Roy Lopez. Roy Lopez is the only one I see returning. Al-Quadin Muhammad, as I said, his market value is what, $8 million this year because he had 10 sacks. He had double-digit sacks on the season. How many did Aiden finish with? 14, 15? Somebody let me know. At least he did. At least he finished more with AQM. More than AQM. That's probably going to have to be a rookie replacement. Where do you get that rookie? It's got to be second round, right? You got to address the tackle, the center spot. You got to address that first round, right? If Brad Holmes takes a silly ass position like cornerback, and we do need a corner to replace DJ Reed. But if he takes a position like cornerback at 17 and says, well, we didn't just want to reach for, I might throw my glasses. I just might. There's so much that this team needs to fix, man. It's frustrating. It's frustrating that we got to this point and we didn't have any contingency plans because we tricked off our third round picks and treated the draft like it was our own personal playground and like we didn't need to get difference makers all the time and that we could afford to waste picks. You know, if you want to waste fifth round picks, you know, that's as far as I'll go, right? Or as early as I'll go. If you want to waste 5th round picks, if you want to waste 6th round picks and 7th round picks, be my guest. But the fact that you said, hey, we don't need to get anybody in the 3rd round, we can waste 6 3rd round draft picks, is exactly why you're here today. Exactly. There's no reason for any of this. 14 and a half for Aiden. Okay. Look at the best player available at 17. Look, if the best player at 17 is CB, you better trade on back, because if he takes a CB at 17, I will lose. I think we need a vet at center. We don't have time for a rookie to figure out how to be an NFL center. No, we don't at all. You guys are gonna hear a lot of background noise, and it's gonna be on purpose. That's all I can say. I should just stop talking. Um, See, tactical. We talked about this stuff already. You see, you're late. You're late. We talked about this at the very beginning. Having a veteran at center, having a veteran tackle, those are options we have. I don't know what the Ravens situation is going to look like. There's a lot of rumblings about change going on with the Baltimore Ravens, and maybe that's why they didn't already lock up Tyler Lindenbaum. They didn't. Basically, this was a lame duck year. They're going to let his contract expire and let him hit free agency, or maybe they're not. I don't know. But it's been crazy stuff talking about firing John Harbaugh, trade Lamar, all this stuff. It's crazy. Okay. Zay Flowers balled out yesterday, but is he? How far are you going to get with him being your best receiver? I don't know. Apparently not far enough. Hold on. Well, that's not stopping the Lions from doing anything, from making any moves. From They did it with Graham Glasgow. They moved him all over the yard. I don't want to play center. Oh, you want to play center? I don't want to play left guard. Oh, you want to play left guard? I just want to play right guard. Oh, you want to play center? So I don't know. The Lions have to do what's best for the team. I understand Sewell is now comfortable over at right tackle, but he came in the league at left tackle, and I know he's been in the league for some years, so that's why the comfort is there. Um, I'm just gonna push through it, guys. I can't do anything about it right now. So, I apologize. I have to apologize for others. Um, so there's a lot of things that are gonna have to happen. There's a lot of things that are gonna have to change. Um, and it's on Brad Holmes, man. If you are a Detroit Lions fan and you want to continue to protect Brad Holmes and saying Brad we trust and all this other stuff, the rapid decline and turnover of this roster is crazy. Again, I'm gonna keep talking about those third round picks because he acted like they didn't matter. He acted like they didn't matter, and you just don't see other general managers doing this. Not people that win. Not people that win. You don't see Howie Roseman doing that. You don't see Les Snead doing that. You don't see Brett Veach doing that. You don't see these people that win and who are in the Super Bowl. You don't see them doing that. The Kansas City Chiefs have been on a run of dominance for 5, 6 years, right? And during this run, yes, they've missed the playoffs now, and Patrick Mahomes is hurt, and they're going to be cheeks next year because Patrick Mahomes is going to be hurt for the majority of the year. That's what happens when you tear your ACL late in the season. Just like Brian Branch tore his Achilles late in the season. We're not going to have him until maybe December. They always got somebody. They were active in the trade market. You always knew that the Chiefs were going to go and get somebody. Oh, Patrick Mahomes needs a deep threat. We're going to go get somebody who's a deep threat. We're going to be able to identify guys in the draft, late in the draft, who's a deep threat. The Tyquan Thorntons of the world. Where he came from, I don't know. What round he was drafted in, I don't know. You go get Marquez Valdez Scantling off the scrap heap. You go get this guy, you go get that guy, you plug and play and you win Super Bowls. You got your starting running back in the 7th round. Isaiah Pacheco, 7th round pick. Nobody knew who he was. But Brett Veach identified him and said, hey, this guy will help my team. Speaking of helping the team, last night, I don't know if you watched the Ravens game. If you didn't, you missed a hell of a game. Um, Chris Collinsworth, who's annoying, who somehow didn't find a way to work Patrick Mahomes into his broadcast last night, which was crazy, right? Because he always does. Chris Collinsworth was talking about if the Ravens missed the playoffs, because this was at the end of the game. It hadn't yet, gone to zeros. Tyler Loop hadn't yet gone loopy and missed that field goal. He said, if the Ravens miss the Super Bowl, the lack of the pass rush will be the culprit. They can't get to the passer. They can't get pressure on the passer. Now, obviously, they were getting a little bit more pressure on Aaron Rodgers, but throughout this season, it was an Achilles heel for them. Now, we had a player finish with 14 and a half sacks, and we had a player finish with 10 sacks. And that's 24 and a half sacks. Guys, that was about it. That was about it. I know Jack Campbell came in with 5 sacks and everything, but like when we talk about who had the sacks, there's something that needs to change. Themes, schemes, players, things of that nature. Those things need to change. As I said, El Qadim Muhammad outpriced himself with having a double-digit sack season. Again, if you're looking at the draft, because you got to look at the draft for certain positions, you're going to have to go into the second round trying to find an edge rusher. Brad Holmes cannot continue to neglect this position. He can't continue to act like it's not a thing, or it, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear Ahmed Hassani's name all offseason. I don't. Do you guys know that Ahmed Hassani's highlight of the 2025-2026 season was telling Dan Campbell that he would die for him on the field at the draft? And do you know he did not get a chance to make good on that promise? Let that sink in. He's a 6th-round draft pick. He was overhyped because he had a moment of passion, euphoria, and joy, and he said whatever came to his mind. I will die for you on the field, coach. You won't be sorry, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he'll do something next year. I don't want to hear about it. Please don't mention his name to me in the offseason. If we come to the draft and we don't address the edge position, I don't want none of y'all telling me that it's okay because we got Ahmed Hassani. And year 2 is gonna be, so he didn't play in year 1. So what's year 2 gonna be? Essentially his rookie season? Because he didn't touch the field year 1. Like at all. So again, we're gonna have money. We've got our own free agents that we need to re-sign, and you know, some of them are leaving. We're gonna have money to be players in free agency. I promise you, if you don't go out and do all 3 phases to get this team back to where it is, it's not going to be a 1-year decline. It's going to be a multiple-year decline. Whether that multiple is 2 or more, it remains to be seen. But it cannot just be swept under the rug. When Dan Campbell says me and Brad have to sit down and look at everything, I hope Brad's listening. If Dan is telling him I need this, and this, I hope Brad's listening. We have to stop with this vet squad, these professional practice players. We have to stop with it. We can't do it. You're going into a season with, Kirby Joseph has a degenerative knee condition. I don't know if it's this bad, guys, but think of the name Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has a degenerative knee condition. This is why he misses so many games. This is why he has to load manage so much, because his knee is degenerating. Bone on bone, no cartilage, hurts. Again, we hear about this in the NBA more than we hear about it in the NFL. So here's another word for you, another name for you guys: Brandon Roy. Do y'all remember Brandon Roy? Brandon Roy was cold, right? Played for the Timberwolves, had to retire early because the same situation. And I know medicine has advanced and all these other things, and we'll see what, maybe he can get an AI knee. Since everybody wants to use AI for everything, they want to talk about AI. Maybe he can get an AI knee. You know what I mean? Maybe they can make a device for his knee to separate it a bit and put some false cartilage in there. I don't know. Cartilage doesn't regenerate, guys. That's why it's degenerative. It doesn't regenerate. Okay? It's not muscle. Muscle grows back, tendons grow back. Cartilage does not. And cartilage is the buffer between your bones and your joints. All this is on purpose, by the way. I just want to let you know. So you're going into a season where you're not going to have one of your safeties for sure. Let's hope Kirby is ready for training camp, but do you even want him at training camp? Like, what, you want him to not do much because of that knee. Is he going to get a knee replacement, like a new joint? There's a lot that needs to be done here, bro. There's a lot. And I know it's just it's anger. It's the season is, the body's not even cold yet. Right? It's a warm body. It just, and maybe it is. Maybe it's just anger. Maybe it's just frustration. But if I'm getting gaslit this offseason, can't do it. All right, I'm gonna get to your comments, and then we're gonna talk about some people that got let go and see if any of them should wind up in Detroit. Um, Hey Don, keep up the great work. Did you and Syndicate happen to see who went out there and actually copied the Pat McAfee show logo? Same colors and all, but just changed the title. Bah ha ha ha, you guys. I think I think I probably know who you're talking about. Our truth tellers for real. Wow, Syndicate has to call it out. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't click on that person's channel. It's not, it doesn't get suggested to me in any of my emails. So I don't know what they do. I don't see anything that they do. It's like they don't exist to me. So Belichick used to collect third round picks. Facts. That was a pretty good game. It was. Uh Keep up the great authentic work, Don Wick. Appreciate you, man. Am I watching? Yeah. I can't not watch the playoffs. I mean, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I'm used to watching the playoffs without my team being in it, so it's all good. I mean, you can't die on the field if you're not on the field. LMAO, facts, facts. What about Registraw? Who is that? Who is Rakestraw? Is he on the team? Brandon Roy, Greg Oden, Blazer Chips, Allen Iverson. His knees are still good, right? Kelly Stafford lost all cartilage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. Don't count on break straw. Yeah, I mean, you guys keep talking about this break straw, break straw. Is this someone who plays for the Detroit Lions? Does he play for the team? Um, because I haven't seen him. All right, here we go. Black Friday. Um, I'm gonna throw out some names and I'm gonna ask you guys what you think. Um, Lions signed 9 players to future deals, including 3 guys who could play bigger roles in 2026. And guess who? Guess who is on the cover of that article? None other than Ahmed Hassanin. Uh, Lions re-signed Malik Cunningham. I don't know why. You didn't use him. All right. So we've made some roster moves. I might do roster moves videos. I don't know. I don't really like to do those, but um Dan Campbell gives himself a freaking F. Everybody has to do that because this season was a failure. Um um while I'm looking for this, guys, um the mock draft app is progressing well. There's just some logic issues and a few roster issues that I want to clean up. But I did test it this morning. The draft works, all that stuff. You can create draft rooms. They're not getting deleted like they were before. Um, actually, actually, the room was too strong. I was like, dang, I'm trying to reset the room and everything because I went to pick 52 and I'm like, I noticed something. So I'm trying to like reset it, and it was just again, it was too strong. I restarted my computer, everything, and it was just right there at pick 52. Like whenever you're ready to continue, we'll go ahead and continue. So that's not going to be an issue, and you can join rooms. The rooms got codes, all that stuff, multiple users. So all that stuff is good. So we're not going to have, I don't think, any of the problems that we had last year. Um, there are no duplicate prospects. So all the prospects are from this year's draft. There's no in the beginning there was like Colston Loveland and Caleb Williams and all this other stuff, which that's not happening. So we're good. All right. Um let's see. All options are on the table. Cardinals GM discusses Kyler Murray's future after firing of Jonathan Gannon. Guys, should Kyler Murray? No, I'm just playing. Because we're gonna have that guy, right? We're gonna have that one guy that says things about Kyler Murray being the quarterback if he comes back. Um, don't read that list if it has Davenport on it. No, he's not on it. Well, I don't know. I didn't click on the list. All right. Jonathan Gannon. was let go by um the Arizona Cardinals. What do y'all think about Jonathan Gannon as a potential defensive coordinator? I told y'all Shep was going to do enough yesterday to save his job. You know, I trust that he can put together a defensive game plan. I don't know if he can do it for an entire season, and I don't know if he can do it in the playoffs, and I don't know if he can do it enough to have a defense that you can lean on to get you to the playoffs. I don't know. But again, it's just like any of the other games, the 3-4 games that he had, which were like, oh, this defense looks great. You know? Um, what up to Irv Gotti? Uh, do I think that Brad will give an open and honest press postseason interview? No. I mean, I don't know how open and honest you want him to be, but there are things that have to be addressed, and they're all blatant and burning issues. So I think there will be less gaslighting because it just might make you look desperate, and I don't think he wants to look like that. Ron has not been here. No Gannon. Can you see him putting his hands on one of the I forgot he did that. Um. Okay. Kyler Murray. Max Crosby. Um. At this point, to be honest with you, I'm not trading for Max Crosby this offseason. If it was last offseason or 2 off seasons ago, you do an all-in move like trading for Max Crosby. This isn't an all-in situation. Unless you're going to say F them picks and then go heavy in free agency. That's the only way you can trade for Max Crosby. F them picks, go heavy in free agency. That's it. There's no other way. So I'm gonna say I'm good on Max Crosby. We good. We good. Um, Max is a pipe dream. It's not even a dream for me. Like I said. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? All right. Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's been fired. No one saw that coming. Uh, I'm gonna ask the obligatory question. I think I know the answer. Are you are you okay with Pete Carroll as a defensive coordinator? I know everyone's gonna say no, so I'm gonna move on. Kevin Stefanski was fired by the Cleveland Browns. He's an offensive mind. Are you okay with him coming in as offensive coordinator? But even before you answer that question, you're probably not going to get the chance because Kevin Stefanski already has 3 head coaching interviews lined up. Unless they ask him about the Shedeur Sanders scandal and why he decided to do what he did. That's the only way he's not going to get hired is if people just don't like that answer. So I don't think Kevin Stefanski is a person um, that's going to be able to be gotten as an offensive coordinator. Uh, I'm hearing some rumors about Brian Flores maybe being on the Raiders' radar, and with Tom Brady there to buck the trend, could be quite possible. As long as he's out of the NFC North, I don't care. If he's in the NFC North, I want it to be with the Lions. If not, then okay. Um, let's see. Cowboys have drama brewing with all pro offensive star. That is a tackle. You may want to get on that. All right. If John Harbaugh gets fired, the Giants would like to hire him. Let's see. You know who did not get fired? Mike McDaniels did not get fired. All right. So that's the crazy part. Let me do this because I got to get out of here. Why is Schwartz a big no for you, tactical? As a defensive coordinator. He's a great defensive coordinator. Raheem Morris has been let go by the Falcons. That's one. Yeah. Remember, I said Todd Bowles, Raheem Morris, uh, or Brian Flores. Okay. So we said Jonathan Gadden, Pete Carroll, Kevin Stefanski. We talked about them already. Raheem Morris. Um, Pete, as a senior defensive analyst, I definitely would take the mind behind the Legion of Boom. That's definitely, you know. Um, Pete should retire and move to Florida, enjoy life. Schwartz would be cool too. Um, so 2026 is Super Bowl or bust. I hope it's not my emotions speaking, but the Lions must throw the bag at what we need from players to coordinators. Yeah, I said that too. Um, Schwartz wasn't a good head coach. I think he's a phenomenal defensive coordinator, not just a great, not a good, not a decent one. Um, Maybe just me, but that stunt he pulled, having his players carry him off the field, just don't sit right with me. Yeah, it was dumb, but at this point, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. if it means getting a competent defense. Uh, Matt Ryan may be hired. Matt Ryan may be hired by the Falcons as president of football, and that's why the Falcons Falcon. It's crazy, bro. Um, so other than that, Brian Daboll and Brian Callahan um they were fired during the season. Coaches who appear to be safe: Aaron Glenn appears to be safe. Shane Steichen, Zach Taylor, which yeah, they didn't even mention Mike McDaniels or Todd Bowles. So doesn't look like either one of them is being fired. All right. So Raheem Morris is the only available candidate. Jim Schwartz, we believe he'll be available because Kevin Stefanski was fired. But then again, if Kevin Stefanski is hired by any of these head coaching places, Schwartz may decide to follow him. So don't know at this point. But you know what time it is. Mailbag, mailbag. What you want to do? What you want to do when they reading you? Mailbag, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right, let's see what we got on the mailbag front. If you guys have any mailbag questions, go ahead, get them in. I'll take a few and then we'll head on out of here. Mailbag, what do y'all think about the new thumbnail? I don't know how you would poach him, but that would be awesome. If you poach Steve Spagnuolo, maybe because he knows that the Chiefs are cooked next year, that's the only way you can. And then Shep could go back to linebackers coach because Steve Spagnuolo really loves Shep. You know what I mean? And he can sit back and learn like Johnny Moe. Hopefully he gets fired, but you know what I mean? All right. That's a vote of confidence. Lions just signed Michael Sam. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. If they could poach someone by throwing money at them, sure. But the Chiefs could block it. So I don't know if poaching is gonna happen. Um yeah. If that's it for the mailbags. Um This is a crazy roster that you were trying to put together, bro. This is a very crazy roster. You're definitely trying to alienate everybody in the locker room. That is facts. The mailbag paper neither. It's what is it? Burlap, something like that. Canvas. Mailbag. What do you think is the plan at safety? I really don't want to roll out uh the bunch of nobodies next season. Yeah, I don't even know, bro. You're gonna have to draft one, but again, unless you can trade up into the third round to get one, because the first two rounds need to be trenches. And we know how this is gonna go, bro. It's somehow Brad Holmes is going to figure out a way to not do what he should do. This year we needed offensive line help. He drafted a defensive tackle. We need offensive line help now going into this coming draft in April. And I don't know what he's gonna do. So I had hope, you know, last year, and then he drafted Tyleek Williams, who, in the long run, maybe he'll be a stud, but it's just this year we needed someone in the first round and we needed someone in the third round, but we got a defensive tackle in the first round and we got a wide receiver in the third round that we had to use 3 picks on. So I don't know, bro. Mike McCarthy? What does Mike McCarthy do actually? Like, is he an offensive coach? I know he's not a defensive coach. Does he call the offense? I don't even know, bro. Any update on Chris Olave and his black eye issue? Great young player. I feel so bad. I don't know. I honestly haven't seen anything about it. Mailbag. So I should see Davenport at my local Albertsons restocking produce, right? Yes, because you live in Texas and he needs to get far away from Detroit. If he played the Saints, if he played the Saints would have won that game. Well, the fact that the Falcons won the game and still fired their coach is crazy, right? Um, no, no, we don't. Don't like that. Mike McCarthy for OC. I mean, I don't know. Um, I don't know, bro. I mean, I wouldn't be like excited about it, but you got to get somebody in here. Like I said, my pick for OC is somebody from the Shanahan tree because they run the football. Um, that was the allure of Mike McDaniels. Um, Somebody from the Ravens because they run the football. You know what I mean? That would be my pick. Do you think MCDC just grows his hair back out in the off season? That makes everything click. We go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl? No, I don't. Tactical Sport shops at Albertsons. How he could get whoever designs the Madden plays, and it would be better than Morton. That is true. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys for coming through, stopping by, hanging out for a drinking conversation. I had some water today. And the other stuff, it is what it is. Um, Matt Nagy learns under Andy Reid. Yeah, I think Matt Nagy would be pretty good. Didn't he win a playoff game with like Mitchell Trubisky or something? Probably, probably. All right, you guys. Like I said, if you're in the Discord, um, make sure you're sending me prospects to look at to help me in my draft coverage. Now that we know where we're picking, it doesn't have to be people that you think would be available at 17, but just anybody. And then if you send it to me, just let me know. Because during the show, if you send it to me in the chat, I won't remember those things. So you send it to me in the Discord, and then I will remember. Just let me know, and I'll check it, and then I'll go look for these things. Um, Listen, Matt Nagy is better than Johnny Morton for sure. All right, is he my first choice? No. If it was between him and Johnny Morton, it would be Matt Nagy. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. Okay, Joe Brady. For a second, I thought of Joe Lombardi, and I was like, I was about to lose it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, y'all. Peace.